You are now listening to Cryptid Cocktail Party. Creatures, let's meet for a drink. It's a treat. Join us in the fight. Cryptid Cocktail Party. Cryptid Cocktail Party.
Hey everybody! Welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host Dave, joined as always by my wonderful co-host Sarge. How's it going, Sarge?
I'm fucking doing great. Even though it's Memorial Day weekend and we're supposed to be sad, but I'm doing good otherwise.
I feel like people don't understand what Memorial Day is about. Like I work with a couple of veterans, and before the weekend, there's a lot of people saying like, "Oh, thank you for your service," and then they'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, that's not what that's Veterans Day. That's not what this day is, because it's about people who have passed and or prisoners of war. So
you're right. One of my son's teachers back in the day taught him the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and so for like the rest of the summer, my son just kept saying to me, "I'm glad you didn't die in the war," and just like out of nowhere, and I'd be like, "Thanks, bud. Me too."
No, was he old enough to know that you went to war? When you went to war, was he even born at that point?
Yeah, like he kind of had an idea of what a veteran was, and this teacher was like trying to do the right thing by explaining that, you know, what Memorial Day is and like why you don't say Happy Memorial Day. And so he was like 6 at the time, and he just like very serious face would like put his hand on my arm and be like, "Dad, I'm really glad you didn't die in the war."
Jesus Christ.
Over and over again.
Like, I'd be like, all right. See, that's the one time when I'd be like, all right, school, calm down. Like,
yeah. Well, like, I also didn't do a great job of explaining it because I'm trying to use like age appropriate language. Like, the last thing on earth I want is for my kid to know I could have died in the war, you know?
But was he born when you were at war?
No, he was born the year I came home. So he was born I came home at the end of 2010, and he was born in 2011. So he never knew me.
Yeah, so what the fuck? He's worried about nothing.
Right. He never knew about combat, Sarge. You know, he just knew that I like to shout at traffic at times, and that's because of combat.
Okay, so I guess that's a good segue into what we're going to be talking about today. I hope so. It's Memorial Day, or at least the day this comes out, it will be Memorial Day. So I figured we should do something military related.
I like that idea.
It seems right. Like, I feel now, I don't know shit about war or war zones, and I for sure don't fucking know about any of the tech used during wars. So I'm sure that hopefully you can fill in any gaps.
A lot of Xbox.
Is it the drone strikes or just
a lot
general?
of Xbox in for the most part. Like drone strikes, Call of Duty.
Well, all I'm saying is that you might be able to fill in any gaps in my knowledge as we navigate.
I can probably help with that.
Yeah, through this episode. But what I do know about is demons, goblins, ghouls. And I know that the absolute worst place to potentially see a demon, goblin, or a ghoul would probably would have been like Vietnam, I'm assuming. Probably like the worst place to see any of those things.
Yeah. Or anytime you attend a military ball and all of the privates have been drinking since noon. They all turn into goblins.
Not great. Sounds bad. So I guess, Sarge.
A lot of property damage.
Yeah, so the first question of my episode, not my episode, but of our episode to you would be, what do you know about night vision? Because the only thing I know about night vision is from Ghost Hunters, and it's like green, and it makes your eyes look spooky.
Yeah. I had to wear nods a couple of times in real life. We had one night mission. We were driving on the highway, And so I had my night vision goggles on periodically just so I could like see out into a field. It is really fucking cool and weird. We played with them all the time. Honestly, I had a lot of fun with my night vision goggles.
I feel like you would, right? You would play with them, right? Like I feel like
yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, the thing is, like you soldiers, especially in a war zone, like you have your laptops, you can watch movies and stuff, and you can play video games and stuff. But like you eventually get to a point where you revert back to your like childhood years and you just start playing weird games. Yeah. Like smacking each other in the balls for no reason.
Well, obviously you get bored, I would assume.
Yeah. And we had night vision goggles, and I don't remember why we didn't always do this, but the base I was on, the lights were out all the time because at night they were worried if we had the base lights on, they would mortar us. Yeah. Because it was a small base, so we didn't have like the counter defense. When they would shoot the mortars, it shoots like these blast of shrapnel up, and then the mortars would hit that and blow up. Anyway.
Like what Air Force One has kind of thing?
Yeah, so instead of putting on my nods to go pee at like 2 a.m, I would just wake up, go stand outside until my eyes adjusted to the darkness, and then walk to the toilet. And one night I did that, and I felt like something was near me, like a person was nearby, but I couldn't see anything.
I fucking hate that so much.
Yeah, it was pretty scary for a minute, and then my eyes adjusted, and I looked over to see the ass of a donkey who had snuck through the gate on the base, which didn't make me feel great because how did they...
I was going to ask, how did the donkey... Was it a base donkey or did it show up unannounced?
He just snuck through the gate. Like, I think probably what happened is like the guards didn't see a threat. It was just a donkey. So they were like, fuck it, we'll worry about it later. Like,
that's pretty funny.
We can't just shoot it, you know? And so I am standing waiting to pee, and I look over and I see like the tail swish. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm standing right behind a donkey. I like ran out of the way real quick because I didn't want him to kick me. But then I just couldn't stop laughing that there was just a donkey hanging out next to my hut.
That's pretty funny.
And so I woke up my teammate. I was like, Murphy, you gotta see this. And so we're standing in the doorway with like a little bit of light kind of eking out.
Yeah.
And he's like, is that a fucking donkey? He's like, how the fuck did that get through the gate? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm sleeping with my rifle tonight because I don't know who's coming behind it.
Yeah, so no one checked this donkey to make sure its ass wasn't like jam-packed with C4. They were just like, well, you know, that one thing happened, so why, like...
You know, it's funny you say that, not, again, derailing the show, but we were driving across a bridge one day, and the Iraqis had been known to put IEDs inside of dead animals. And so one day we're driving across this bridge, and there's a dead, I think it was a dead goat on the bridge. And for some reason we had to stop, and I looked down and realized that there's wires sticking out of the goat's mouth.
Well, to be fair, goats are known to eat...
It's pretty rare when they eat det cord, though, you know?
Yeah, but they eat almost everything. So maybe, hear me out. Maybe there was an IED exposed on the ground, and the goat was like, the goat was like, what is this?
And then died immediately.
Exactly.
So
it's got to be toxic. I can't imagine that explosives are.
Yeah, it's not good for you. So we determined that they probably were trying to set up an IED. And then they saw us coming and they like ran away. But yeah, there was a goat with wires, like red wires hanging out of its mouth. And so we called the Iraqi army's explosive ordnance people, because by that point in the war, they were kind of handling all that shit. And we just took off. We were like, I'm not sticking around for this thing.
Now, not to be gross, but did you snap a photo of that? Can I have that photo? Because that sounds funny.
No, I didn't think to take a picture of it. I probably should have. We were just trying to get out of there at that point because I'm like, guys, it's got wires. We're like, we should go. And then we just drove off.
I feel like if you're in any high stakes danger area and you go, there's wires out of something that probably shouldn't have wires coming out of it, you should probably just slowly back away.
Yeah, you get to a point where you kind of recognize that things might not be great. Like we had a mission where we got a lot of really shady intel right before we left, and I think we got to the gate and we were like, no, fuck it, we're not going out. This is bad news. This has got bad news written all over it. You kind of get the spidey senses and you don't want to go anywhere. Anyways,
Anyways,
so yeah, I've used night vision goggles. That's what we were talking about.
I forgot that's what this whole episode is about. That. All right. So, have you ever heard of red night vision goggles? Like not infrared, but red.
No. Oh,
Sarge.
this is the song that every veteran loves. Just to be clear, this is our music.
We're going to Nam, baby, today. We're going to fucking Vietnam, baby.
Oh God, I'm just already picturing the helicopters flying overhead.
Is that a good?
How do you shoot women and children? Easy. You just don't lead them as much.
All right. So, for years, pretty much ever since I have been on the internet, there's been rumors, or I guess like the best way to describe it is like urban legends that in 1965, during the Vietnam War, the U.S. government designed and built red night vision goggles for use during the war. So why red? Well, the theory was that, or at least according to Mark Anthony, an Oxford-educated attorney / self-proclaimed world-renowned psychic medium / and guest on Coast to Coast AM, he said that the red night vision goggles allowed the soldiers' eyes to maintain daylight sensitivity, and it would be easier for them to switch from day to night vision because red light doesn't force the eyes to have, like, it doesn't force them to have to like adapt to low light conditions. Can
confirm. I use my red light all the time.
And I assume it's the same reason that they use these red lights like in military like helicopters. You see like you watch a movie, I think like even like in what's my favorite movie of all time?
It's like Predator maybe?
I was thinking like The Rock.
Yeah.
Like
no, but like I think in Predator there was a scene where they were in the helicopters at night and they did the same thing. I think nowadays they all wear night vision, but I think back then they did use red light.
All right, so the red light's not like a movie thing. That's like a whole.
No, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I didn't fly in helicopters at night, but I'm almost 100% sure they use red lights because I know that they use them in airborne. When the airborne troops who do night jumps, I'm almost certain they use the red lights.
Just got finished watching Black Sails. And the other thing I can think of is that it's like pirates when they do the eye patch thing where you put a patch over one eye and then you switch it when you go below deck so that way you can see.
I heard that too. Yeah, it protects because your night vision is a finite resource. Like it takes some time for your eyes to adjust, and so it's much easier to just cover the eye. And a special forces guy that I met who was big and who like was in SF in the 70s and 80s. He told us stories about going behind the lines in another country that we're not allowed to talk about, Russia. And he said that he used to keep one eye closed when he would see like white light or, any other colored light. He would keep one eye closed to protect his ability to see in ambient light when the lights were gone.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So anyways, it seems legit. Like I'm not an optometrist, and I
totally legit.
Yeah, I don't want to be bothered to learn how different lights affect the eye, so I didn't look any of it up.
I use it when I go night hiking, and I can see great. After I turn off the red light, I can still pick up the ambient light, so I can promise you it works.
All right, so these new goggles supposedly were issued to soldiers in Vietnam in 1965. It was mostly to like newborn.
It's mostly the newborn brigade.
It was mostly the airborne troops, special forces, and like recon units. And the thing is about these goggles that just after a week of this new technology being in the field, shit started to get really weird. So
I can only imagine.
Yeah, in the July 8th, 2023 episode of Coast to Coast AM, Mark Anthony went on and talked about how after the first week, the men who were issued these goggles started acting pretty strange. They started talking about things that no one else but them could see, and for some reason, they were fixated at staring at the jungle canopy and the treetops. Then they started having behavioral and discipline issues and eventually started fighting amongst themselves.
Well, Charlie's in the trees, so you have to be careful about that.
So it's not like a great first week or two that this whole like new thing was being rolled out. I feel like this exact thing happened right after the release of the Nintendo Virtual Boy. Do you remember that thing?
Yes. He was like all red lights, wasn't it?
Yeah. So real quick, for those too young to remember this, the Nintendo Virtual Boy was basically a pair of goggles that sat on a tripod and it had a controller connected to it. and it was supposed to be like the 1995 version of virtual reality, kind of. Like it was fully 3D rendered, like characters and shit.
Yeah,
but
it was like Tron.
Yeah, but the display was like a monochromatic red. It was red and black, so it was like a bright red light beaming onto your corneas. And I don't know if this is true, but I genuinely remember, like, I think like it fucked up some people. Like I know,
yeah,
some reviewers said that it said like it like caused them to have like nausea, vertigo. I think it fucked up people's eyes. Like,
I went to a Sears back in the day. I was a little kid, and I remember playing on one that was on display. And I stuck my face in there, and I literally was so enthralled with what I was seeing that I actually drooled.
I think it was shutting down.
I felt the drool come out of my mouth and drip.
Yeah, like I remember the Walmart near me had it on display, and I played it, and I'm pretty sure I died. Like none of this is real. I think this is just like my.
It's a fever dream. You're actually in a coma.
Exactly. Like it wasn't great. Like, and it sucked to look at, dude. It was so bad.
Yeah, it honestly, like looking back on it now, I just remember it being a series of red lines. Like it was not a 3D rendering by any stretch of the imagination. It was just angled lines.
Yeah, but anyways, we're getting off track. So soldiers, recap. Soldiers got red night vision, started slowly losing their minds, started fighting with each other. And this is all within the first week. Then the helicopter incident happened. So,
snap.
Allegedly, while during a routine helicopter patrol over a somewhat quiet part of Vietnam, a gunner who was wearing the red night vision goggles just fucking started open firing at something.
Oh, no.
Then he just started screaming that he was shooting at demons, and he just kept screaming about demons over and over again while just lighting up the jungle. Not great.
Not great. Nope.
Now, the strangest part about all of this is that apparently officers and pilots specifically had been ordered not to wear the red night vision goggles. But an officer aboard the craft tackled the man, ordered that the gunner remove his goggles, and he put them on himself. And then according to Mark Anthony, who seems, I'm going to say this, it seems like his only source is like, trust me, bro, kind of thing.
Yeah.
The officer, quote unquote, saw several grotesque winged humanoid creatures flying up from the treetops below towards the helicopter, end quote.
Oh.
And this wasn't an isolated incident. According to Mark Anthony Esquire, again, he is a lawyer. Over a period of several weeks, reports flooded in from soldiers who had seen these flying creatures while wearing the goggles. Even officers who had disobeyed their orders and decided to put them on described seeing gargoyles and or demons. Not great.
Oh.
How are we feeling so far, Sarge?
I don't like this at all, but I am not shocked in any way because night vision goggles already kind of make you look like a demon. And then you're going to put on red night vision goggles? Fuck that.
Yeah, not great.
I don't want it.
It was also reported by people who wore them that the creatures would immediately come at you as soon as they noticed them. Now,
like, you know that they know that you could see them.
Well, here's the thing. So I don't know if that means that, like, as soon as the person wearing the goggles noticed the demon, or if the demons noticed the person, or if the demons noticed that the person wearing the goggles are now aware of the demons. Like, I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know if it, like you said, like, do they only attack if the demons notice that you can see them, or if it's like as soon as you just even make eye contact in general? Like, how would you interpret what that means?
That's my interpretation, is that you put on the night vision goggles and they're red, and now you can see fucking hellfire demons.
Yeah.
And the demons are like, oh shit, we've been spotted. Let's go get them.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
As well, but there was no clarification, so I didn't know if it meant.
Of course not. It's Coast to Coast AM. You're lucky that they were speaking English.
But like, yes. Yeah, so again, I don't know. That would be my first assumption, is that once the demons notice that you are able to notice them, that's when they would attack. But people are saying if that's the case, and they said that like this happened, how is there no other witnesses to you being torn apart by a invisible demon?
Well, maybe they're not. Maybe it's not like they're gonna come and tear you apart. Maybe they're gonna like. Maybe they're going after you internally, like they're gonna take your soul instead.
Maybe, but also, not gonna lie, if I saw a demon that I could only see with red night vision goggles, and they knew that I could only see them with red night vision goggles, when I started running, I'd take them off. I feel like they would stop.
Okay,
probably.
So I hear what you're saying, but
no.
Let me throw in a little combat knowledge here.
This is the reason why I wanted to do this episode, because you will set me straight. But also, would you not just immediately take them off?
I would, yes. But at the same time, that's me talking to you right here now in Massachusetts. When I went on mission,
so if you were in Vietnam, I was amped up. Fuck you!
Well, I mean, you have a machine gun, but you're also so amped up on caffeine and nicotine, dude. My blood could have powered Vegas for a week. I was constantly like in a state of fucking manic violence.
Dude, we are two violently different people.
Yeah, I was inches away from like murder constantly. Because like you go out on mission, you need to be alert, especially like I was a gunner. So I was in the turret of the truck. And if you're a door gunner, same thing. You have to be constantly alert for threats. And so you take a lot of caffeine and you've got, you know, ripping cigarettes like you fucking read about. And so you're just ready to destroy anything in your path. And the only thing that stopped me from like opening fire on everything is knowing that like I had to account for my ammunition. So I couldn't just fucking randomly shoot anytime something looked threatening. I had to have a good reason to justify, shooting at something.
So you're saying that the helicopter gunner who was wearing the red night vision guy saw the demons. He was well within his right to just start unloading into trees.
I'm telling you right now, I 100% would have fucking opened up an entire magazine.
That's fair.
All 200 rounds at whatever was flying towards me while being a door gunner in Vietnam. Absolutely, without question.
Okay, but this still doesn't. We got to this because we still don't understand what they mean by. It was also reported by people who wore them that the creatures would immediately come at you as soon as they noticed them.
Well, that I can't explain. I mean, other than that I think that, you know, because the creatures noticed you looking at them and watching them, so they were like, oh shit. Better go get that guy. He knows we're here.
So what you're saying is that, which is the theory that we might get into, is that they're interdimensional. They don't. We shouldn't be able to notice them, and they won't attack us if we don't notice them.
Well, yeah, because the way night vision works is that it's picking up a different kind of light. It's picking up light that isn't visible with the human eye.
Ambient.
Yeah. So if these demons are there, maybe these demons are there all the time, and we can't see them. But then you put on these night vision goggles and it gives you the ability to see light on a wavelength that we normally couldn't see as human beings.
But what if, hear me out.
Okay.
It doesn't, it's not. Well, either way, the use and testing of these goggles was abruptly canceled after 60 days. Which seems too long.
It seems like after the first fist fight between two guys wearing these goggles, maybe you don't do that anymore.
But again, I'm not a military man, so maybe that's just like the standard length of time. Like maybe like 2 months is like.
I mean, back then, yeah. Nowadays, no, that is not normal. I mean, nowadays, if you've got two guys that go kind of crazy and start fighting each other, you're probably going to cancel that experiment real quick.
Maybe.
Like at one point in Iraq, we had to wear high visibility vests when we were walking in front of our truck to go from my base to the motor pool.
Oh, so you mean you're just way more visible to the enemy than you should be?
Yeah, because they didn't want us to accidentally get run over. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like my driver would notice me.
I feel like I would trust the driver more than a sniper.
Yeah.
But even after the program ended, there were some short-term effects. Soldiers who had worn the goggles were mentally unstable for months after the experiment, according to Mark Anthony, world-renowned psychic medium. And what they suffered from exactly, I don't know. Full disclosure, I did not listen to this episode of Coast to Coast AM.
You're probably better off for it.
Well, because if you claim to be a lawyer and a world-renowned psychic medium, I don't want to hear a word out of your fucking mouth. I do not care what the fuck you have to say about anything.
He practices ghost law.
So, exactly. So how true is this story? Well, let's be real. It's not.
It's not. No.
And thanks to the website dawnshift.com, we can kind of work out why. I didn't really go into a lot of detail, but I think, Sarge, you have some more experience with night vision than anyone that I would even know. For one, actual Vietnam vets have completely demolished the rumor. According to the website I just mentioned, several pilots from this time have confirmed that there were absolutely no red night vision goggles at the time, and definitely not enough night vision goggles for an entire unit.
Yeah.
In fact, there weren't really night vision goggles at all until like the 19th.
No, I don't think there were.
It's like the late 1960s, and it was like 1969 that the Army had like prototype night vision goggles. And it was like very limited, and anyone who got them was on a very limited basis, and it was crazy top secret and super
and they're
experimental.
Fucking huge. They had to be huge.
Oh, these things were heavy, big, bulky, and they were never adopted officially into the Vietnam War.
In 2009, the fucking night vision goggles that I wore were really small, and they just flipped down off your helmet, and the fucking mount for them was like half a pound.
Yeah.
And then the goggles themselves are hanging off your helmet, so you had to tighten the straps really tight in order to keep the goggles from dragging your helmet down.
Yeah, so in 1965, the idea of giving full units of men,
no way.
Like goggles, like, it just makes no sense. And
you can't. No.
And the thing is, like, while yes, red is easier on the eyes, as we learned with the Virtual Boy, it's not great for like a display. Like green is always the way to go from both like a spectral efficiency and also like a human visual sensitivity standpoint. Red light isn't great in like low light conditions. As we said, like if you're in fog, like the taillights of a car, it's not great. Red light isn't great in low light conditions and would basically cause like a loss of contrast and detail. What I read is that's basically like if you were looking through red night vision goggles, you're almost colorblind. Like,
yeah, we were specifically told not to wear protective eyewear that had red lenses, because a lot of people who wear shooting glasses, their lenses are either yellow or red. And we were specifically told not to, because you wouldn't be able to tell if there were wires when you were looking for IEDs and stuff, because the wires would blend in.
Yeah, but green, on the other hand, is much better, and it gives like a smoother, clearer image of what you're looking at. Like the glow lasts longer, so you have a much smoother, clearer image.
I honestly didn't know that about the green light, because when you were first talking about it, it kind of made sense to me. But yeah, that makes total sense, because red light is not great for distinguishing contrast. And again, to your point, it doesn't go far.
Red, yellow, and orange, if you're looking at it through a red light, you kind of get lost in it. But the green light picks up all those different contrasts, so that way you can easily determine shape, all that stuff. It's way more like quote unquote high def. I don't think in the 60s it was very high def, but you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's why all of those highly efficient websites use green and black. Exactly. Green lettering on a black background.
Exactly. Like, I'm not going to go into any more detail about. There you have it. Like that. This is just like a fun urban legend that people fucking love to believe. It's been on the internet longer than I have even been alive, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's one of those things where I just randomly get a bunch of TikToks for some reason about this fucking story. And I remembered this story and I was like, oh, I want to learn more about it. And then I realized that, like, I don't know how we just did a half-hour to 45-minute episode on it, because all the information that I got is from 2-minute TikToks.
It's because we're drunk. It's because we're both drunk.
Yeah, it's Memorial Day weekend.
And honestly, what better way to remember all of my friends who are no longer with us than drinking a beer?
Yeah.
Especially if it's a Narragansett lager.
Yeah.
Because it's local, and I was in the Mass National Guard, so fuck all you people. Drinking a goddamn Yingling or Budweiser.
Whoa, hold on. All right. What's all this content now?
You were from New England first, okay?
Never forget your roots.
And Narragansett is better than Yingling. I don't care what anybody says.
I just did one of those peas from remember the Austin Powers movie where he eats the asparagus, the peas in the
just
fountain?
lasts forever.
Yeah, dude, that was it. It was the what were we talking about? Oh,
yeah, it's Memorial Day. Can't believe we could do 30 minutes on like 2 minutes of TikTok videos, which is crazy. This is the first time I've ever heard this story before. I think you brought it home.
All right, so how do I end this episode?
Hey, regardless of the work that you did, regardless of your war, we appreciate the vets. We appreciate those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And fuck Donald Trump.
Fuck Donald Trump. And Sarge, I appreciate you. I'm glad you didn't die in the war.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
I'm glad you didn't die in the war. Because I mean, like, this show wouldn't still be going. I probably would have gave it up a long time ago. So I appreciate
this is the most fun I have every week. So I appreciate you too. Thanks for listening. And listen, Memorial Day, don't spend the whole day being sad. Those guys didn't die for you to do that. They want you to have a good time. They want you to celebrate. Just have a drink for them.
I don't think most people know what Memorial Day is. They celebrate the same way Veterans Day is celebrated. Most people, again, at my work, thanked all the veterans for their service before the weekend.
At least they didn't say Happy Memorial Day, because nothing sets off my rage more than when people say Happy Memorial Day. And when I was working in retail, nothing would make me angrier than when people say, what's your sale for Memorial Day? And I just wanted to be like, how about you just enjoy the fact that you're free, you fucking idiot?
Sarge, here's the thing, though. I can get a Toyota right now for like 50%.
I know. Nothing says thank you for making the ultimate sacrifice like 50% off a mattress.
Raymore and Flanagan has some pretty good deals this weekend.
I'm so glad I don't work in that industry anymore, because every Memorial Day was a rage struggle for me.
Oh, for sure. But I'm just going to say, like, I can go to Wayfair right now and get a dresser for like $4.
Which makes no sense.
I might get a child with it because remember whole thing?
Dude, don't start that fucking goddamn. That fucking conspiracy theory made me so angry. All right, we should wrap this up. We're both a little too drunk for this.
Yeah. All right, Sarge, do you want to plug your coloring book or no?
Yeah, buy the fucking coloring book. SargesSupernormal.com. SargesSupernormal.com. $9.99. Celebrate Memorial Day by coloring Donald Trump a better color of orange if you can do it. You can find us on Instagram. Oh, just Google Cryptid Cocktail Party. We pop up everywhere. I did that recently. We're everywhere.
We're amazing.
And you can Google Sarge the Destroyer. You can find me that way. You can find all of our links on our Instagram page.
Sarge, with that out of the way, do you want to say goodbye and love you to the audience?
Guys, I love you. Have a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend, and have a beer for those who can't be with us. And I love you.